Hello, welcome to a brand new edition of Sports Pizza. It is the show where we give you nothing but the absolute best from the world of sports, top-notch analysis, and of course, information. I'm your host, Edwin Onyebolisi, and together we're doing this in the company of Abe David. We'll give you stories from the local scene down to the foreign scene, and of course, we'll touch on other sports. The NBA resumes, and we'll be doing a bit of a preview leading up to the 2024-2025 NBA season. And with 5 races to go in Formula One, just maybe Max Verstappen might do enough to hold off Lando Norris. All of this and so much more on today's segment. But first, let's catch our breath, go on a break. When we come back, we'll delve straight into action. But please don't change the channel. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. This is Sports Pizza. My name is Edwin Onyebolisi. If you're joining us for the very first time, welcome to the show. David, how you doing?
Edwin, it's a pleasure to be here as always. I was glued to my screens over the course of the weekend. There was action from the world of sports everywhere. And most especially, I was in Saudi Arabia. I know the king of the series, the tennis competition. I also saw a lot of fight action. The funny thing is, in Saudi Arabia now, they're not attracting fights. But that's a story for another day.
All right, before we go into all of that, David, the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup is currently on in the Dominican Republic, and the Flamingos are through to the quarterfinals. What a fantastic start to the tournament it has been for the girls.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Under-17 generally has been a strong suit for Nigeria. I think it's the fact that we have talent. That's, if you are looking for clear testament of the fact that there's talent in Nigeria, it's the Under-17, the men and the women, at this level we're able to rub it with the very best in the world. But it's now getting to the next level, the Under-20s, Under-23s, where the extra development is supposed to come in. That's where we lack. But at Under-17, I think we are strong.
And one of the standout players for the Flamingos is Shakirat Moshood. 3 goals and 1 assist for the young lad. And we're hoping that they will go on to win this tournament. They look good, but there's the Spanish national team. You have the Germans. You have the Japanese also. It's going to be a tough one. But from the games I've seen so far, I think they can hold their own against these opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they've played very well. They've converted their chances. The fact that they score goals. We saw it all throughout their, the pre-run to the tournament. They could score goals, and they brought it to the tournament. Good one for them, and hopefully they can go all the way.
All right, away from that, let's quickly touch on the Nigerian Premier Football League. Game week 8 done and dusted. We're not going to focus on the result of the matches today, David. Let's talk about the season in general. What's your overview after 8 games?
I think for me, I'm looking at the fact that we've had less. One thing I'll take from it, we've had less refereeing controversies compared to last season. If you're looking at it's a small sample size, 8 games, but I think compared to last season, how it started, I think this season has been really good. And then we've seen teams, Enyimba, with Yema, their new manager, after the departure of Finidi George. I think they've tried to consolidate on that. We've also seen Remo. I think this is their season. They're doing very well this season under Daniel Ugumodede. And I think for Rivers United as well, Finidi George has a point to prove. He wants to win the league with another side. So I think for me, we've seen Shooting Stars also still consolidating their strong record at home. I think it's a good season, shaping up to be a good season.
Is it also shaping up to be one of the most competitive seasons in recent memory?
Yeah, I think so. I think there are more, players putting their hearts in players in terms of the clubs. We are seeing. I think Shooting Stars last season they fell alongside, the way. But I think they are going to give a good run this season. Remo Stars, I think this season they are going to go even one step further than how they finished last season. Rivers United also will be good under Finidi George. I think Enyimba as well will be usual challenger. So I think it's a good run. I'm looking at 4 or 5 teams challenging for the title.
One thing we've also noticed in the MPFL this season is the trend of teams going away to pick up points. Gone are the days where we had intimidations, that we had poor refereeing, like you said. The only manager who has so far complained about refereeing is Tracy's manager, Benga Ogubote, who felt that the officiating cost his side points against Rivers United. But that aside, it has been a fantastic start to the season. We're seeing games on TV, less controversies, the refs with their monitor. I don't know if that has also improved the officiating. But all in all, we want to give kudos to the LMC, also the NFL. Whatever you guys are doing, please please continue.
Let me also add the Ahmed Musa and Shehu Abdullahi. You know, at first I thought it was just going to be along the, but I think they brought a lot of glitz and glam. And I'm also hearing the story of, you know, Brown Ideye coming to the NPFL to join Rivers United. You know, that's it. So because he has seen what Musa has been able to achieve, I think he's going to attract even more, and it's good for the NPFL generally. All
right, we need to leave the home scene right now and run straight down to Saudi Arabia, the Six Kings, and after a quite interesting few matches, one man was crowned champion, and that is Yannick Sinner. Be it competitive, be it exhibition, whatever the case is, 2024 has been a year for Yannick Sinner.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a good one for him. All the titles he has won in his career, the ATP has been won in 2024. It's been a year of consolidation. Last year was a breakout year for him, but this year he has actually now started winning titles. You know, find the controversy of the whole drug scandal is still on the sideline, but I think for a tennis player, he's a solid player. Each time he has faced Alcaraz, we've seen, you know, these two players, the future of tennis.
Talking about Alcaraz, it is 6-5 in this rivalry that we are witnessing in tennis. You get a feeling that while both players are young, the other experienced guys like Medvedev, Tsitsipas, Zverev have conceded the leadership to these guys. It's quite damning for me.
Yeah, I think so. The fact that these guys came behind these names you mentioned and they've suddenly overtaken them, I think is the key factor of, you know, they have the mentality to at the top level. You know, we've seen these guys against the likes of Djokovic and likes of that they've given their own account compared to these other guys, the likes of Zverev. Zverev is perennial underachiever. We've seen him in the big stages, always crashes out. But these two guys seem to have that extra mentality, and I think that's what has brought them this far.
And in the third place match, it was an emotional one, Novak Djokovic versus Rafael Nadal for the very last time. And of course, Djokovic ended up winning his straight set. But for Nadal, you get a feeling that the spirit wants to continue, but the body's just saying, nah, man, let's
yeah, absolutely. I mean, the body, for a long time, if you look at the tail end of his career, has ended with a lot of injuries. And considering the way he plays, you know, he's more of a power player and he relies more on his physicality. And I think that affected the age has caught up with him. But fantastic career has had generally.
Yeah, he's going to wind down his career at the Davis Cup in Spain in the month of November. He's not going to play in the singles, but he's going to play represent Spain in the doubles. From that, we'll go to Formula One. It is now 57 points. Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. But on the day, it was Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz won two, with Verstappen finishing third. But there were controversies. Lando Norris finished third, but the FIA felt that he went too wide when he overtook Verstappen in the final 4 laps. But at the end of the day, but one thing we can take out from this, David, is that Red Bull are no longer the team to beat.
No, absolutely. It's very clear. They have a good driver in Max Verstappen, but something has gone wrong with the team generally. They've lost a lot of their lead, especially on the Constructors' Championship. And I'm looking at Ferrari as well, with the prospect of Lewis Hamilton joining them next season. I think they are doing something very good, you know, 1-2 again this season. I think it's generally good for Formula One that there's no dominant name. Red Bull are relinquishing their dominance, but for Red Bull themselves, it'll be a cause of worry for them. 5
races to go. Can he hold on?
Oh, I think so. I think he will do enough. Fine, this race this weekend was controversial because at the beginning of the race, at the start of the race, he controversially overtook Lando Norris, almost similar circumstances, and there was no penalty for that. And then the one that was called close to the end of the race, there was a penalty, so Lando Norris will feel hard done by. I think if he had finished, he had stayed in third, he would have closed the gap to 52. It would be 51 points, but he now increased the gap. I think Lando Norris will feel hard done by. But Verstappen being the driver, we'll see it through.
And finally on this segment, David, the NBA season is upon us. The team to beat is still the Boston Celtics, but I have a feeling that the Denver Nuggets will give them a really tough time. Yeah,
there's a possibility of that, but I think it's left to them to actually raise their standard, because Boston Celtics have set a standard from last season and heading into this season. The standard is there, and they've not lost much, you know, in terms of players and in terms of the coach as well. So I think they are strong candidates to also retain. And you know, the last 6 seasons we've not had a back-to-back champion, but I think they look like the strongest contenders to actually break that jinx.
Yeah, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are the guys to watch, and you also get the feeling that the Western Conference is more competitive than the Eastern Conference, and For that reason, the Celtics don't need to exert a lot of energy to get into the playoffs. Whereas for the Western Conference, Denver have a lot to battle with. But we're giving you all of the juicy stories and information with regards to the new NBA season. At this point, we'll take a pause, go on a break. When we come back, we'll switch back to football. At this time, we're starting at Anfield. We're back to the second half of the show. This is Sports Pizza. If you're joining us for the very first time, please give us a follow on our social media platforms. The handles are showing on your screens. Let's get back to action, David. We started at Anfield, Liverpool 2, Chelsea 1. Beyond the result, were you impressed with Liverpool's performance?
Well, I was impressed generally by their overall play, but there is still the issues that I think exist in that team still exist. The fact that they don't have a number 6. Gravenberch has tried this season to cover some of the ball. I think he was majorly exposed in that game, and I think Chelsea had as much opportunities to get at Liverpool as I've seen any other team. Probably the Forest game where they lost than any other team this season. So I think the issue with Liverpool still exists. They can be got at if you apply the right. You can break through their midfield generally. But I think the result was good. The win was a good one for them. Remain at the top of the table.
David, from Chelsea's perspective, over the weekend and even beyond that, I noticed the trend in that there seemed to be an over-reliance on Cole Palmer. I'm not saying he's entirely wrong. Hey, if you have a talented player like Cole Palmer, you obviously build your team around it. But there's a feeling that they don't have a plan B when things are not working. And we saw it in that Liverpool game. Curtis Jones did a fantastic job on Cole Palmer. Is that an issue Chelsea fans should be worried about?
I think so. I mean, last season we saw Chelsea, at a point they were nicknamed Cole Palmer because it seemed like it was a level above every other person. But this season, with the recruitment they've done, the likes of Noni Madueke, the likes of, Jadon Sancho, we expect that this guy should be able to step up to his level. But we've still not seen most of those guys step up to that level, and that's a worry for Chelsea fans. But I don't think it's much of a worry because if those guys can actually contribute the quota that they should be able to, the likes of Joao Felix, the likes of Pedro Neto, I think they can get that quality. But when you have a player like Cole Palmer, of course, you expect that with the quality he has, things will go through him, but the rest of the guys should try to put in their weight.
I was billed as Cole Palmer versus Mohamed Salah, but one man shone,
of course,
the other didn't shine. And the guy who shone was Mohamed Salah. Where will Liverpool be without the Egyptian?
I mean, for Liverpool, where would they be without Mo Salah? I mean, they will struggle at this point in time. I mean, the legacy he has set in the Premier League since he stepped into Liverpool, I mean, it's been a wonderful one for him. I think if you're talking of foreign players in the Premier League era, you're talking of maybe Thierry Henry, Sergio Aguero, and then for me it's Mo Salah number 3 because his goal record, the fact this season he has actually added more creativity to his game. It's something that people have criticized. He's not as creative as you think. But this season he has taken that mantle, and you see him central to everything Liverpool does, and it's a very fantastic. Hopefully they can keep him after the end of this because his contract ends at the end of the season. Hopefully they will renew his contract. And
from that, let's go to Arsenal. Bournemouth did the unthinkable over the weekend, 2-0. But a lot of Arsenal fans have put that loss on Saliba's red card. But I also think that critically, the absence of Saka and by extension Odegaard exposed the limitations Arsenal have in attack with regards to creativity and scoring. I
mean, the game over the weekend was maybe the culmination of everything, but over the few weeks after the Odegaard injury, it began to show Arsenal struggled for creativity. At the point, Arteta had to go playing 2 false nine, playing Havertz and Trossard as false nine, just to get something working. And I think over the weekend, Bournemouth exposed a lot of everything that could have gone wrong in that game for Arsenal as a team went wrong. The Saliba red card notwithstanding. Before that, Arsenal gave away more passes than I've seen them give away in a game, even before, in the first 30 minutes of that game before Saliba was sent. And even the sending off came as a result of, Trossard misplacing a pass. We saw a lot of that. Arsenal were caught and joined over the course of it. So we saw Mikel Merino, someone who has not, played prominently for them, trying to replace Odegaard in the Odegaard, and he couldn't do. He's not the same kind of player. The entire right side of Arsenal was completely dead. Saka was absent, Odegaard was absent, and then Ben White, who has not played for the last 2 or 3 weeks, also came in, and then there was a struggle on that leg. And we know that Arsenal's left-hand side is really not balanced at this point, so I think it went wrong for them.
will Arsenal self-implode with their passion for picking up red cards?
I don't think so. I think this team has, over the course of 3 years.
It's already a third red card in
it's 18 red cards over the time Arteta has spent at the club. That's more than any other club in that same time frame. So I think there's an issue there. But I think with the squad and then the mentality, they've grown over the course. This Bournemouth was an outlier. We saw them against City with the red card. We saw them against Brighton with the red card. They were able to manage it. I think they will learn a lot of lessons as a team. They are growing, they are developing. They'll bounce back from this.
You brought City into the mix. If I'm an Arsenal fan, whilst City got a late winner against Wolves, I don't think I'll be too perturbed because City haven't been the City we saw the last few seasons.
Yeah, I think so. I think they are not as confident as you think they are going to be going into games. Wolves had only 1 point before that game against City. We can expected City to just go there and steamroll them, but Wolves got an early goal and then kept City at bay for a long time. They got their equalizer, but they struggled. They had to wait till the dying minute of that game to get the winner, and this is not the kind of performances we expected from City. Fine, the Rodri miss is going to be apparent in this team. They are lacking a lot of control. That's one thing that has left this season. They are lacking control. They are not able to create chances as they should. Kevin De Bruyne also is absent this season. So I think Arsenal, Liverpool, they can still have some hope that this season there's still chances.
Talking about Arsenal and Liverpool, both teams face each other this weekend. To what degree will Arsenal miss William Saliba?
So I think they will miss him a lot. When you look at the statistics and their record, their win percentage without William Saliba, it drops from about 75% to 25% without Saliba. I think we saw their implosion 2 seasons ago when Saliba got injured for the final few games of the season. They really imploded. But I think this season they'll be able to manage it better. I think the Liverpool game is coming at the wrong time because it's Liverpool and how confident they are. But I think if he's going to miss, because it's just only one game, they thankfully try to manage their options in the squad. Ben White is back, thankfully, so we're feeling that role. I think if Timber can also come back before that game, I think there are more options. I think they are now in a better place to handle. I mean, 2 seasons ago, the option they had was Rob Holding to replace Saliba, but this season they have Jakub Kiwior, they have Ben White, they have Julian Timber. So at least there's still more options.
Against Chelsea, Liverpool sat back. Should that be the same approach against Arsenal, trying to hit Arsenal on the break?
I think there's a possibility for that because Arsenal without Odegaard, we've seen that they've tried to sit back more. They are not as executive as they should be with Odegaard on the field. So they give up initiative to the opposition. So if Liverpool sit back, they force Arsenal to attack them, and I think Arsenal are not the very best at it at this point in time with the players that they have.
All right, away from the English Premier League, let's head straight to the Spanish La Liga. Only 3 points separates Barcelona and Real Madrid. And this weekend, David, it is the El Clasico. For you, who is the favorite?
I mean, for me, it's Barcelona without a shadow of doubt, based on the evidence of the first 9 games that we have seen this season. They've played some absolutely spectacular football. Everything is clicking to them. Compared to Real Madrid, I sit down and I watch Real Madrid and I'm scratching my head and I'm like, if the big players do not turn up, there is no plan, there's no system in place to get them over the line. They are not playing according to the system. The big players just turn up for them. We saw Mbappe and Vinicius over the weekend help build them, because in that game, Celta Vigo had them on the ropes for a long time. And I think Ancelotti has a lot of work to do. And for that reason, I think they are facing Barcelona at a very wrong time when they are not yet ready and Barcelona are in peak form.
If there's a team that rises to the occasion, that team is Real Madrid. Yeah. Playing at home at the Santiago Bernabeu. I agree with you that in this moment, Barcelona is the better team. Yeah. But you also get a feeling that with the individual quality Real Madrid have in their rank, that could be the decider. So it's individual brilliance versus a team play.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how it's going to be set up. But again, Real Madrid, we know the quality that they have. And once you just need them to click together, who knows, that Barcelona game might be the game where everything just clicks together, everything becomes knitted together. And I think for that reason, when you have players like Mbappe, you have players like Vinicius, on their day, they can be very dangerous to any team in the world. So I think for that reason, Barcelona will still have some doubts at the back of their mind. Barcelona
also know without theirs, Robert Lewandowski, the most informed striker in Europe's top league. There's Rafinha, there's Lamine Yamal. It promises to be a spectacle. But defensively, there seems to be a worry for Real Madrid. Absent players, injuries, and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when Militao went down, it seemed like everybody's heart was in their mouth because where are they going to get replacements from? But hopefully they can still keep the players they have fit and manage the season.
Finally, in the Italian Serie A, it feels like it's a three-way fight. Absolutely. There's Napoli, Inter Milan, and Juventus. Who is most equipped to get to the finish line first?
I think for me it's Napoli for one reason, no, two reasons actually. I think Antonio Conte is in charge, and also they don't have Europe. And these are the recipes that Antonio Conte likes to have to build a team that wins the title. So I think for that reason, one game per week, I think they are good to go.
All right, that's the much we can take on the show today. They say time flies when you are having fun. But not to worry, we'll be back at the same time next week. But we'll leave you with our video for the week. Do ensure you give us a follow on our social media platforms. The handle are showing on your screen. David, thank you for being a part of the show today.
Edwin, always a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be doing this with you. From David, it's goodbye. And
from me, Edwin Onyebole, said keep supporting, keep watching Sports Pizza. See you same time next week. God bless you.